Yes, yes. If it's noon and it's Eastern time on a Wednesday, that means it's time for the High Noon Hemp Show live, usually on Facebook. Facebook has given me problems. It's been garbage today. I guess we're not live on Facebook, but we are live on YouTube, on the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and at Hemptations on Twitter. We can do without Facebook. It looks like crap anyway. I'm gonna be honest with you. The feed looks like crap. It looks much better on YouTube at the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel. If you don't want to look at us at all, it's fine. It's kind of insulting, but maybe you're driving or you need a podcast for whatever you're working out, whatever. You can get that at Podbean, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show, of course, video on demand on those places, and usually on Facebook. I'll get it up on Facebook eventually when they stop being so Facebooky. I am Stoner Jesus, of course. I do various shenanigans on the interwebs. He is the man himself, Beach, high above the Hemptations in Sharonville, Ohio, the hemp quarters, if you will, live on this Wednesday. Beach, how are things in the world of Hemptations?
Good, good. I was just updating my Facebook post that I posted 1 minute before the show to tell people to go to Hemptations Beach to go to the Jedi Hemp channel. So,
Surprise, Facebook sucks.
welcome everyone to the High Noon Hemp Show. That is right. We are here. It is Wednesday. I am high above the location in Sharonville at the hemp quarters. It's true. Appreciate everybody being here wherever you're watching, or if you're watching later, or if you're listening later on the podcast, whatever it may or may not be. I do appreciate it. It's for sure. Not a whole lot going on, locally. It's kind of fun. I did get contacted. It was through my fraternity at Heidelberg College, actually. One of my fraternity brothers is working at a hemp farm here in Ohio, and so he got a hold of me, and so hopefully we're going to be buying some more local flower, semi-local. I don't think it's real close to here, but it's semi-local, hopefully. So, and their flower looked good. It's true. So we'll see about that. But other than that, it's going to be interesting in Ohio. We've still got a little ways for harvest. Although I do feel like, I guess, if you're growing for CBD, you may be harvesting soon, depending on when you got in the ground. We had a decent spring, but we did have that snow, so I don't know. It will be interesting to see how the crops come by this year in Ohio. I don't think we have a whole lot growing, um, as we have not in the past. So, all right, well, let's get on with the product spotlight, as I like to say, four from the store, one from my door. The first one is Delta 8, the controversial Delta 8, still a controversy. We'll talk about that later in the show. But these are some new TKO pre rolls. So you can see they've got some different terpene breakdowns, some of the more common varieties, terpenes there. And again, this is Delta 8. Delta 8 is, we like to say don't drive heavy machinery while using Delta 8, even though it's not, it's something, but it's not in a whole lot. The next one is some new pet stuff. In fact, the rest of the products of the day are pet related. We can't forget our pets. But the the fireworks Independence Day recently reminded me how valuable um, CBD is to animals and their reactions and things like that. And so, we carry the Just CBD gummies and some products for humans. And so we got in these tinctures, different flavor profiles, um, and they're just 100 milligrams. And so there's a very little amount in each dropper. Again, if I was to do the math, I would say it would be like zero point 0.1. So again, there might only be 3 milligrams. Is that right? 3 milligrams That is about right. 3 milligrams per full dropper on these at 100 milligrams. Um, so that's a tiny, tiny amount. So that's for smaller animals. I think they do have a larger milligram. We'll have to get in for the bigger animals. But this is definitely a very small dose. Um, and so there you have it, just CBD pet tincture. And if you like to occupy your dog or cat, we just got in a fresh batch of hemp toys. Josie's got the big the big roach joint looking thing over to the left there, which is our big Dobie. Um, and they have a new one, which is the one that you put catnip in for the cats. That's in the package there. We haven't had that one before, and so I think cats will probably love that. Um, they love to catch things, even if they're not even alive to begin with. Of course, catnip you can't go wrong with.
Yeah.
Uh, and a couple other there. And again, I mean, this is made out of a safe material that you want your dog or cat to be playing with when it comes to hemp. That is for sure. And the next one, and again, we've been carrying from the field toys and whatnot for a long. I mean, they've been around. I'm gonna have to ask them how long they've been around, but I know they've been around for at least 15, 20 years. Some of the first stuff we carried, and still super popular. And we just got a fresh batch of this stuff in with the hemp mouse, and just these other random kind of shaped things. And I believe that they are filled with catnip or silver vine. I think was something else. Um, and cats do, in fact, super duper love the from the field uh, cat toys. And they make we have I should have thrown some of those in there, I suppose, but they make dog tugs, I want to call them. Kind of, it's just a piece of hemp rope with some knots on the end. It's for tugging, and you can throw it. Kind of looks like a bone, so you can throw it and they can bring it back to you. If you don't like to play tug of hemp, which I don't like to play tug with, I don't think that's actually a good thing to do with the dog to have a clamp onto something and then pull. um, but you can use them for fetch as well, so you can throw them, and I'm sure your dog would love to get it. And the smaller ones, who knows, you might even be able to get a cat to bring one back. On occasion, I have gotten our cats to fetch, but it's not. They don't really like to for long periods of time. Anyway, um, so there you have it. Four from the store. Now, the one from my door I am showing, and I have shown before because I talked about this last week on the Hemp Week episode. This is my very first hemp purchase ever in my life. And I got this little hemp bag. It was on the back wall of the leather shop at Kings Island, which is the local amusement park here in Cincinnati. This was early 90s. And I swear, and I still believe it's true, I was drawn to this product. I mean, like, again, I walked through the leather shop, and I was probably into leather in the 90s. I'm sure I still had a leather coat. I was in college. It was the 90s. Um, and, but I wasn't, it's like, not like I really like leather stuff at all. Honestly, I didn't. Um, and again, just something drew me to this back wall. And there it was, this little bag said hemp. And I had to buy it then. I had probably done a little bit of research at that time, maybe on hemp. I don't even know if I'd even got into my parts of college where I was doing research on cannabis, because I was a communication major. Again, for those that may or may not know, my final speech to graduate from my communications degree was on industrial hemp, not medical, not recreational, but industrial hemp. Um, and I'll never forget the professor that evaluated this, she was the toughest professor that I had in the communication department. Um, Told me how well researched it was. And that's because I had done previous speeches for other class and whatnot. But again, it was an amazing subject then, just as much as it's an amazing subject now. For
Mhm.
that's for sure. And so there it is, my first hemp bag, bought at Kings Island at the leather shop, early '90s. Um, you know, if I believed in fate or kismet or any of that stuff, I'd say that that's definitely what drove it. Um, if I didn't believe everything was coincidence, I would say I was put there for a reason. But there you have it. Could likely be the singular product that sent me on my my lifelong path here for the High Noon Hemp Show.
That's right.
So four from the store, one from the door.
Which, of course, brings us, and of course, if you watched last week, as Beach mentioned, the Hemp Week presentation, we didn't have the regular format, which means we didn't have the beachwear segment. So people who get dressed based on that, I don't know what they did last week. I guess they just didn't get dressed. And that's a shame. But now it's time to get dressed. It is the beachwear segment. We ask the most important question of the day, and we ask it of Beach. When I ask, what are you wearing, Beach?
It's true, folks. If you're just waking up, maybe on the West Coast, or been up for a little while, and you're like still confused as to what to wear, now you will know because I'm going to tell you what I'm wearing. On top here, I've got the old E-Conscious hat. We sell some of these in the store. I think you can find them on eBay, um, in a multitude of colors and combinations. This one's a kind of a trucker hat. It's got the mesh back. Um, but I think these are a good size for smaller size head and even girls. I think these actually work well. Um, got my hemp hoodlam tee, make hemp, not war, which is something we believe in every day for sure. My Ohio hempery cutoffs. So these were originally a pair of jeans, and they were just a little bit too short for me when I got them, because that happens to me a lot. So I cut them off, and I love these shorts, as cutoff shorts. Maybe I'll try to bring that back. Where's the cutoff look? I'm trying to go long. I've noticed the short is kind of coming back with guys. It's like, man, that's not a good look.
No.
Guys need to wear long shorts. That's just it's just what I believe. So maybe that's what drove me to, now that the summer's so hot, I've noticed that. But anyway, those are from the Ohio Hempery, which was over in Athens, Ohio for many a year, making great hemp products. Oh, how I missed the Ohio Hempery. My Green Springs Technology pen in my pocket there, as you can see every week. My Hempest briefs, and you can go to the Hempest or the Hempest. It's one of the two, thehempest.com, for their all kinds of good hemp clothing products, including their briefs, and I think they make women's undergarments as well. Oasis no shows, and my Saucony Jazz shoes, which are vegan. It is the Saucony Jazz, I believe, are part of the vegan line that Saucony makes. So there you have it. If you're asking, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know.
Bam.
Bam. Um, you'll have it. Not a whole lot of news, but I guess the news that I have is kind of big news.
Okay.
Um, it's funny. The last couple of weeks, I haven't, I haven't seen a whole lot of new product releases. I mean, for a while, we were really seeing all kinds of companies come out with them. This is, now I'm seeing more like real news stuff. The first one being they're trying to introduce the FY 22 agricultural appropriation bill. Okay, and what this means to hemp um, is it extends the 2014 Farm Bill, because apparently, and I actually not apparently, I knew this. Some states, some farmers in some states are choosing to use the guidelines of the 2014 Farm Bill, because the guidelines to the 2018 Farm Bill, um, are they're I don't know. I guess maybe too intrusive. There's a couple things in there that to try to avoid. I guess somehow the 2000. I don't know how that really works. Now, according to the article that I read about this agricultural appropriation bill, the 2014 Farm Bill will then it will expire eventually, and so those farmers won't be able to file the way they're filing now. Um, Maybe next year or the year after, if they don't do this, if it doesn't pass. All that means is I think there's a couple more maybe uh, dots and and whatever, um, crosses to cross and whatnot on the applications, or and I guess I'll have to look into a little bit. I have to get some clarification as to truly why. And I think the big difference is um, you can go through if as long as you go through the Department of Agriculture, then you can still use the 2014 guidelines for the Farm Bill for the hemp. And so, uh, what that how that makes it easier, I don't know. The 2018 Farm Bill took it off the controlled substance list. I would think that if you were filing with the 2014, that you would then have to still go to the DEA and have them take your seed off of the controlled substance list, because that was the big difference between 2014 and 2018, was the fact that in 2018 hemp seed is taken off the controlled substance list and the DEA is no longer involved in that anything when it comes to hemp farming. If you're still filing under the guidelines of the 2014 Farm Bill, then you would have to go through the DEA to get that particular seed taken off the controlled substance list, because that's how that worked. And we found that out day one in Kentucky, because the DEA was trying to pull some shenanigans with some of the first seed that was being sent to Kentucky, or I forget. It was like the second year, I think, or maybe even the first year they were trying to hold things up. And it's because the DEA hadn't taken the seed off, and the judge had to order the DEA to take the seed off the controlled substance list, because that was part of the policy. That's how the 2014 Farm Bill worked. Okay. If you don't know, all of the hemp to be federally recognized as legal in 2014, you had to either go through a school of higher learning or the Department of Agriculture in your state. Okay. And so, to be even considered one of the first legal hemp fields, hemp crops in the United States, you would have had to have done those things. I know for a fact that there are people who are saying they were some of the first hemp grown in the United States again, but I don't think they went through either Department of Agriculture or a school of higher learning in their state, but they grew uh, industrial hemp anyway. It was industrial hemp that they were growing, and so. I'm not sure why some people would want to do that, but obviously this F-22 would help continue with that 2014. There is also parts of this that they want to do a study to study whether the THC content can be raised. I'm not sure what they're really going to do there. And so, again, something that federally we need to happen, and was hoping to happen in the next Farm Bill. And I don't know if FY22, the Agricultural Appropriation Bill, is the newest Farm Bill. They kind of always change names too. We call them Farm Bills generically, but they all have their own specific bill name. And so that may be actually what this is. They also raised concerns over the drug felony restrictions, which, again, is disappropriately keeping minorities from being able to grow industrial hemp, which is freaking ridiculous. Again, ridiculous. Um, this is a farm commodity. Can a drug felon grow corn? Can a drug felon grow soybean? Can a drug felon grow oranges? Because if they can, then there's zero reason why a drug felon can't grow industrial hemp. It's so stupid. And once again, because we know for a fact that minorities are the highest percentage of drug arrests in this country, racist. I'll say call it what it is, and it is. It's a racist action, no different than it was in 1937 when they said the black people and the Mexicans were smoking pot and raping white women, and that's what they said. That was the propaganda they were using then. And their mentality is still it's okay for white people to use this substance, but not minorities. Um, and that whole attitude again, we need it to become legal. Cannabis just become legal, period, and just stop. Everybody just stop harassing anyone.
Mhm.
But again, it is still proving, industrial hemp, even. They're still trying to make industrial hemp something that it's not by keeping felons from being able to grow it. And it's stupid, it's ignorant, and it shouldn't be happening. It should not be a part of the Farm Bill or the USDA policies or any of that. Um, anyone, anyone should be able to grow industrial hemp. If you want to be a farmer and you want to grow industrial hemp, you should be able to, because drug felony has nothing to do with it. On the ironic side of things, and of course, not most drug charges are not. I mean, some of them are growers, but most of them are possession and blah blah blah. But in all irony, you take someone that's been arrested for growing cannabis, you should encourage them to get into the
Yeah.
and again, that's what we're seeing now is these people getting into the business legitimately uh, because they're already farmers or farming or know how to farm this particular plant. Again, if it's not illegal to grow it, why should it be illegal for someone to grow it? Makes no sense whatsoever. Um, and then, of course, this also encourages or makes a path possibly to start the USDA to work with the DEA. And so the USDA can clearly tell the DEA what actually is legal and not legal, instead of the DEA just saying, this extract is illegal, blah, 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 without any proof, which they want to do. And then they have to get checked. See, now the DEA just says stuff about industrial hemp products because they can say it. And if people want to believe it, they'll believe it. I had someone recently tell me um, that they would, and this was funny, they would pray for me because uh, the DEA told them that Delta 8 was illegal. And when I get into legal problems, they're going to pray for me. And this is someone that's in the industrial hemp world. And of course, they're in Michigan where Michigan did make Delta 8 illegal, but not the DEA. I can tell you this, because the minute the DEA said anything about Delta 8, they were immediately checked and told, nope, extract of industrial hemp, 100% legal, shut your mouth. And they did. We haven't heard anything from the DEA on Delta 8 in a while because of that. Now, because of what the DEA said, now all these state officials and local cops think that Delta 8 is illegal because they misunderstood, or they understood perfectly the lies that the DEA were saying. Okay, and again, Delta 8 extracted from marijuana, illegal. Delta 8 extracted from industrial hemp, 100% legal, unless you live in one of these states that's making Delta 8, no matter what it's extracted from, illegal. And see, that's where the DEA can come out and say, "Oh, well, we were talking about Delta 8 from marijuana."
Mhm.
Like, why would anyone do that? Marijuana, cannabis with high THC has high THC. Why would they extract the Delta 8 out of it? That means so. But anyway, um, and I think that hopefully then what this FY22 agricultural appropriation bill would do would hopefully entice the DEA to contact the USDA to find out whether they should say these things are illegal or not. And the DEA is really afraid right now because the minute that cannabis is taken off the federal the Controlled Substance Bill Act, as long as it's no longer a controlled substance, then they're going to be making up all kinds of new things that they should be telling us we shouldn't use because they're going to be really bored.
Mhm.
And again, their business has been taken away from them for a while. We've been chunking at it with the legal states and the medical states, and tell them the DEA has to be invited in to a state to do anything. Okay, if there's a drug problem somewhere, then the DEA has to be asked to come in and deal with it. Okay, and so all these states that are making it legal are no longer asking the DEA to come in and um, mess with the federal laws. And of course, if you look closely at most spending bills, and probably in the last 10 to 12 years, um, most of them include a clause that say the federal government, literally, the clause says this: the DEA cannot spend any money. The federal government cannot spend any money fighting cannabis in states that have legalized cannabis. It's in there. It's part of the budget. And so I know the DEA is probably, I bet their budget is down because of that. They don't like that.
Yeah.
They'd rather be busting down people's doors for some natural product uh, than going and find jobs somewhere else.
Yeah.
Anyway, so call your local federal representative. Tell them that you support FY22, the Agricultural Appropriation Bill, and hopefully, again, that will get things going in all the right directions that we need to. And speaking of all the right directions, and this has been a subject of mine, and will continue to be a subject of mine until the FDA actually does something. The Consumer Brands Association. And this is huge because, we're talking about Kellogg, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo. We're talking about the huge brand names are a part of this association. They are pushing lawmakers to get the FDA to do something about their inaction. Okay. And that's really what it is. They're at this point, they're not trying to get the FDA to do something because they need to do something. They are telling the FDA to do something because they're refusing to do anything. I mean, this should be on everybody's desk at the FDA. I don't, I mean, you talk about job security. Here's something that the public needs you to do. The public, the people that you serve, okay, the people that pay your wages need you to decide whether CBD can be in food, be in drinks. I mean, that's the big issue here with the FDA. And the fact that they're doing nothing, and there are millions and millions and millions of people in this country using CBD daily. Millions, millions. I guarantee it. Um, Using CBD daily. And here's the FDA saying, oh, well, we don't care. I can tell you this: if they come out and they say it's unsafe, they're sure going to be the excellent deletive. I think if we need any sound effects on the show, it might be to cover up how much I really want to cuss right now. And I'm trying to keep this show kid friendly, so to speak. Because trust me, my natural cussing instincts, which I do have, are telling me that there aren't enough cuss words, so to speak. And again, I don't think any word is any worse than any other. But I can call them freaking dumb butts that don't know
Hey now.
Shiite from Shinola, um, because of their inaction. But it really is at this point. It's laughable what the FDA is doing to the American public and all of these companies that obviously have a demand. Again, they wouldn't think that Coca-Cola wouldn't think that they want CBD in Coca-Cola if there wasn't a demand for that. Kellogg wouldn't think that there was that they needed to put CBD in their cereal, and hemp for that matter, which I can't believe they haven't done or don't have um, a hemp cereal. But again, so they can say, now with CBD. Again, as soon as the FDA, and I said it last week, and I'll say it 100 more times until the FDA changes their policies. The day after the FDA says that CBD is grass, you will see 100 products on the shelves that say now with CBD.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's these industries are being driven by this, and the FDA are keeping all of these industries in the United States from being able to legitimize, so to speak, or feel safe about putting CBD in the product, even though once again, millions and millions and millions of people are using CBD daily. And right now, the FDA is just kind of putting their thumb to their nose and be like, yeah, whatever, why do we care? It's not killing anybody, so I guess we'll just leave it alone because it's just we don't want to mess with it. Which in itself, makes it safe, obviously. Because if it was killing people or it really was harmful in any way, guess what? It wouldn't be legal. They would make it illegal. And it wouldn't be the FDA that did it. Okay. Why the FDA is dragging their feet on any type of studies, any type of, I don't know how they decide, you know, um, whether something is actually gross. And I guess I'll have to look up the guidelines to do that. But it is 100% ridiculous. And so hopefully this Consumer Brands Association will, I mean, again, we're talking big money here. And so politicians, lawmakers will probably listen. We can only hope and see that there's some type of pushback to the FDA to get something done one way or another. I mean, again, if they're going to officially say it's not safe and it can't be added, then do that. We all know that it is safe and it should be added. And so just make it grass and let's do it. Here's interesting. 25 hemp farmers in Montana were awarded the second biggest monetary amount in the state as far as a lawsuit goes. $65 million they'll divide up after being left in the lurch over hemp biomass. Now, this biomass, okay, again, agreed to be grown and sold to a company. And 3 years later, nothing. The company didn't buy it from the people, but the contract that the people had said that they couldn't sell it to somebody else. So this hemp has actually literally been sitting in the fields for 3 years. And so, hopefully, even if they're awarded this money, they'll still be able to get that out and get it to market somewhere. I don't know how good of a product it would be, because at that point you're talking about rot, and things like that. And so the one farmer did say that he would periodically go out and check the field and make sure everything looked okay, and the hemp bales still looked decent. Um, but uncovered, I would think that would be tough for that long period of time. Even um, hay bales, the big hay bales, if they're going to let them sit for any period of time, they usually cover them in the field, or you stack them up and cover them to keep the moisture out of them. And of course, that's hay, not hemp. But I don't think hemp would be any different to any type of rot if you had a lot of moisture sitting in there, even though, um, we've always said moisture actually makes the fiber stronger. Um, but so, hopefully, well, I doubt any of those hemp farmers want to be a part of hemp anymore, but, hopefully some of them will move forward and still find viable interest in growing hemp if they felt like doing it again. That would sour any farmer. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Um, Mixed martial arts fighter John Bones Jones. I don't know much about him, but I'm going to have to start following him. But he's endorsing Just CBD. Of course, I was just showing the Just CBD pet products, and like I was saying, we carry some of the other Just CBD products: the soap, the gummies, bath bombs. I think that's about it right now. Um, but I'm sure a bath bomb for a fighter soaking in CBD is probably quite nice.
It's a
Uh,
pretty
and,
big
and,
thing.
you know,
Absolutely.
and again, we've seen. I've been talking about it how the Love brand, which I just saw an article, how they're starting to blow up right now because they are an official sponsor of, I think, MMA, one of the big mixed martial arts. I know that I think they were actually trying to get into the boxing, professional boxing, as well. And so it's no surprise to me that brand um, loves CBD, which I think is great because we all should love CBD. Uh, is starting to take off because of the uh, the sponsorships that they're giving the fighting industries, so to speak. So good for them. But now we got John Bones Jones endorsing Just CBD, which Just CBD, for the record, years ago um, they were called out for not doing what they were supposed to be doing, and I think they started doing what they were supposed to be doing, and the customers love their products. Um, but I think the first round or so of Just CBD gummies were tested not as high as they were supposed to be.
Mm.
Um, but once again, I think they work it out, and of course, their price point is really good. Not saying that they should be shorting anyone because I don't want to be selling products that short people, but I will say that one reason why we sell the Just CBD gummies is because our customers really do like them. It's true, and of course, it's just infused, but we have our own gummies, just so you know. But anyway, um, but uh, here is, speaking of the controversial Delta 8, and I've been talking about this, the Kentucky Hemp Association, good for them, is in fact suing the state over Delta 8 raids. Uh, Now, I am glad, for one, that the Kentucky Hemp Association is getting behind this industrial hemp product. There was a brief moment where I was following their spokesperson, and I did not like what they were implying by what they were saying, and I didn't think that it was supportive of the Delta 8 industrial hemp products. And again, maybe I misconstrued what the angle was, but the fact of the matter is this is an industrial hemp product, and someone should stand up for it. And so I'm glad that the Kentucky Hemp Association is standing up for Delta 8 uh, because until Kentucky didn't make it illegal, they haven't made Delta 8 illegal. They've only made CBD flower illegal. But you can get CBD in any other form, but don't try to buy the flower, which is the purest, most natural form. Trust in some manufacturer that extracted the extract, the isolate, or whatever. And so, Kentucky is a little wacky with their laws, but again, I don't think the state made Delta 8 illegal. I think where these Delta 8 raids happen, they happen once again because the federal government, i.e., the DEA, implied that Delta 8 was illegal, and it never was. And so we'll see how that turns out. I'm going to guess, and we'll see that all these cases get dropped, and we don't hear much more out of it. So we'll see. We'll see. Telray, which owns Manitoba Harvest. If you don't know, we sell the Manitoba Harvest food products. They are actually going to go. Telray, the Manitoba Harvest is actually going to go and start doing research and development of new hemp varieties. Which, in all honesty, I feel like they probably should have been doing anyway. And I've always said this. I mean, if you're growing hemp, and all of a sudden, if you're really paying attention, and you see all of a sudden you've got a plant that's got seeds that may be a little bit bigger. I mean, even a microscopic increase in seed weight is huge to the food industry, in my opinion. And so my goal as a food grain farmer would have always been to try to continue to develop a hemp variety that has larger seeds. And you'll see it. I mean, you if you lay out 1,000 seeds on the table, they're not all going to be the same size. And so if you start to figure out, hey, wait, this particular plant, again, just like the breeding or whatnot, this particular plant produced seeds that are slightly larger. Can we reproduce this particular plant? Probably with those seeds. And then focus, and just see if it happens. That's the only way to really find out naturally. And say, hey, these seeds are definitely larger. If we plant these, are they going to give us? And that would be the grain industry's whole goal. If I was growing for fiber, then I'm walking through the field, and all of a sudden I come across a plant that's a foot taller, 2 feet taller than the rest, and that's the one I want to study. We'll find out why that one, because the fiber grows from the root to the top of the plant. So the taller the plant, the longer the fiber, the more money you make. Pure and simple. It's pretty pure and simple. If you can produce a grain seed that is distinctively larger, or even slightly larger, then I think that there's a value there for sure to the hemp food industry, without a doubt. And again, it's hard to believe that after 20 years or so, Manitoba Harvest is actually getting involved with this, because again, they're some of the largest growers of industrial hemp probably on the planet right now. Definitely for grain, and probably the largest grower for grain. There's a lot of grain being grown in Canada, specifically in Manitoba. Just seemed to be the place to do it, and it must grow well there, and I think it does. I think it grows maybe a little taller. It's just healthy. And again, most of the food products, hemp food products, that are on the shelves right now in the United States come from Canada, because it's gonna take us a while. It's gonna take a while for the farm grain industry in the United States to catch up with Canada. But we need to do it. We need to do it. Let's do it. I have nothing against Canadians. I love them. Canadians are great people, just like the rest of the world's full of great people, except for the bad people. But anyway, well, that's all the news that I have for this week. It's not a whole lot of events coming up, but there are some pretty big ones. If you're in the Kentucky area, if you want to grow in Kentucky, you're a grower in Kentucky, then you probably already know that the Kentucky Hemp Association's annual conference and trade show is happening in Louisville, August 5th. It's coming up, coming up, coming up. August 20th and the 21st, you have the Southern Hemp Expo down in Nashville, Tennessee. Um, and then there's actually two Southern Hemp Expos going on. So I don't know. I hope they're the same people. I'm not sure because there's another one in September 2nd through the 4th in Raleigh. But in between there, August 21st, you have the Ohio Cannabis Health and Business Summit at the International Exposition Center in Cleveland, Ohio. So check that out if you are in the Ohio area and not too far away. Making a comeback for the second appearance this year here in Cincinnati, September 9th through the 10th, you have the Ohio Kentucky Cannabis Industrial Marketplace at Duke Energy Convention Center. It might be the first time that they've called it that. That sounds a little different. That makes it sound like something I want to go to. I think it's probably still all going to be mostly CBD. But, I might actually be interested in the old Ohio Kentucky Cannabis Industrial Marketplace at the Duke Energy Convention Center. So we'll see. Again, that's September 9th through the 10th. And then September 11th, you have the Flowers, Berries, and Hemp Farm Tour from 10 to 4 at Creek's Edge Farm in Georgetown, Ohio.
Wow.
So if you're in Ohio around the Georgetown area, check out the Flowers, Berries, and Hemp Farm Tour. I mean, honestly, that sounds like something I'd do. Because I like both flowers, or all three of those, flowers, berries, and hemp. I like to tour all those. I wonder if we can do a pick your own. Pick your own flowers, pick your own berries, pick your own hemp. Now I'm intrigued. I'm not saying that's going to happen, folks. I don't know anything more about this event as to other than where it is, what it's called, and the date. September 11th. So there you have it. I didn't really get any questions. I think I made my beach thoughts pretty clear in today's show on multiple hemp subjects. So with that, I will say thanks everybody for watching. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See you all next week.